Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at forgiveness. Now, in the Bible, Jesus puts a lot of emphasis on forgiveness and how important it is that we forgive others. In Matthew chapter 6 verse 14, it reads, "For if ye forgive men their trespasses," so if you forgive those for what they've done to you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if ye forgive not men their trespasses," so when people wrong you, you don't forgive them, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. You know, it can be really easy when someone does wrong to us, and it's just a small thing. Maybe they call you a name. Once this man in my church said something to me, and I didn't take it to heart. It was just a joke. And later on, he called me and he said, "Nathan, I'm sorry for what I said." And I was just like, "It's all good. I forgive you." And in those moments, it's very easy to forgive someone for what they've done. But it's when it's a bigger thing, that's when we struggle to forgive. And it can be a lot harder to forgive. You know, we have no excuse not to forgive. When Jesus died on the cross, you have to think about what they did to him. In Luke 23, we see the story of Jesus being crucified. And if you look in verse 33, it says, "And when they were come to the place which is called Calvary, there they crucified him, and the malefactors, one on the right hand and the other on the left, the two thieves on the cross. Then said Jesus, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And you have to think about what happened building up to this. So first, Jesus had an unjust trial, was accused of things which was false. So they beat him, they whipped him till he couldn't walk, he was bleeding. When they took him, they put a crown of thorns on his head so he was bleeding out of his head. Then they made him carry a cross on his shoulders. He was stripped naked. Then they made him carry the cross, took it up to the hill, and then they hung him on the cross, nailed him there. And then they mocked him and spat on him, and they gave him vinegar to drink. And even though they'd done all that to him, he still says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And we have no excuse when someone wrongs us. You know what? We just got to keep forgiving them. And this is another thing Jesus says. If you go to Matthew chapter 18, it reads here in verse 21. Before this, Jesus is talking to the disciples about forgiving others when they've wronged you. Verse 21, "Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Till 7 times? He's saying, "Jesus, how often should I forgive my brother? Like, just until 7 times, and then after that, he's had all his chances?" 22, "Jesus saith unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times. No, you're wrong. Not 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Now, obviously, Jesus is not saying, 490 times, start counting it. And when you hit it, that's it, you're done. He's saying, I wouldn't even be able to track it up to 490 times. And that's the point. He's saying you should just keep forgiving. Because if you think about how many sins of yours Jesus has forgiven, I think it's not too much of him to ask us that we do the same to others.